Today we have with us the famed record exec responsible for the deals that brought us the eargasmic talents of Big Pun, Mobb Deep, The Alcoholics, M.O.P., and of course the iconic Wu-Tang Clan, among others, via the Loud Records umbrella. This dad joins us today with his sons so we can have a dope accountability discussion and touch on the legacy that is Rifkind. Right now on the Fatherhoods podcast, we welcome Steve Rifkind and his sons Alex Rifkind and up and coming emerging superstar, Mr. RyRif. Welcome.
What's happening? What's happening? What's happening?
So this is a first for us. We've had parents on, but we've never had the father-son combo here. So
this is our first too.
Oh, dope. Good. So no, we haven't rehearsed this. So if there's fuck ups, it's all good. We're just gonna roll.
Right.
No question.
So
cool.
So yeah, Kay, why don't you kick off, bro?
So yeah, I mean, I think Steve, you're always kind of heralded as one of the most loved record execs. A lot of people stand up for you, and for good reason. What I find interesting with this convo right here is that this is a generational convo, right? You're a famed music guy, and then now you've got your sons in the music game. And I know you've talked about this on with other interviews, but you come from a legacy of a music family. So I'm curious what it was like for you growing up with your dad. It was Spring Records, correct?
Yeah.
And how he parented you, how that is reflecting in how you're carrying along with your sons.
How he parented, when I was actually there, right, Alex is 25 and Ryan's just turned 20. So, but when I was a kid, I don't know if I really wanted to be in the music business. I thought I was going to be a professional basketball player, but I never grew to be that height. And then I was majorly dyslexic. I didn't know how to read or write till I was 15 years old.
Get the fuck out of here.
So I was getting in a shitload of trouble. Was robbing, stealing. And my grandfather, who actually started us all, retired down to Florida, and he flew me down to Florida, and he says, "You're going to end up dead or in jail. Why don't you go in the music business?" He goes, talk to your father. My father doesn't want me around, so he goes, I'll talk to him. And that's how I ended up starting. I was 18 years old, and I was supposed to just go on the road for like a week or two. And that 2 weeks ended up being 2.5 years, just zigzagging across the country, visiting radio stations. That's how I pretty much put the whole street team together. Don't forget, there were no cell phones. There was no GPS. It was just me and $10 worth of quarters to just get because I didn't know how to read a map because I was dyslexic. So I would have to, get, if I was in Mobile, Alabama, and I had to go to Birmingham, Alabama, I would call the radio station and I would literally write notes on how to get from Birmingham to Mobile.
They would like break down the basically the directions.
Like, get up at this exit, make a left, go, so.
That's wild.
That's what. But I had the time. But I had the time in my life.
So your dad didn't want anything to do with you. You said, and that was based on the fact that you were kind of a knucklehead.
I mean, my dad loved me. Don't get me wrong. My dad truly loved me.
Yeah.
Right. But
from the business side,
nobody knew what dyslexia was. Right. So when I finally came back from the road, I'm 21 years old now. He wanted me in the office every day. And I'm like, I would go to the office, but I'm not going to be there at 10 o'clock. I'll be there at 2 o'clock because I'm out all night. Right. Yeah. So, so that concept was like, and I lived around the corner from the office in the city. And he would call me literally at 10:15, the second he walked into that office. Where are you? I'm like, I'm out to 2 o'clock in the morning. I'm not coming in there. So.
Was he in music mode 24/7, or did he like come home and then it was dad time?
No. There was never. My dad loved being in the music business. Like truly loved it. I mean, I never saw a guy work the phones to the day he died. I mean, there was always a phone just glued to his ear. And me, I'm the king of like a 3-second conversation. I can't talk no more than a minute because then I start thinking about other shit.
So taking that into account, right? I kind of want to fast forward just a bit because you've been credited for putting together some unorthodox sort of situations, particularly with Wu-Tang, right? Like you saw an opportunity to take a big ass group of guys with a lot of skills and a completely different sound that was that was customary at the time, and you figured out, all right, I'm gonna get this group together and kind of give them the liberty to do whatever they want. Kind of touching on you not really having long conversations. That feels like a big ass conversation. How did that actually become what it was?
It really wasn't. RZA showed up at the office on my 31st birthday, and we spoke, and the guys were there. And the office was a real small office. It was a guest office out of RCA, but Loud was based in LA. And he said, "You mind the guys come up?" And I was with E Swift with the alcoholics. I'm like, "Yeah, no problem." The guys come in, and we're in a box. Like, it's like just picture a crowded spot where you can't move, right? And they're all performing "Protect Your Neck," literally live to the record. Some guy, Burgess, opens up the door and says, "That's that shit." I look at him. He leaves. I never see him again. To this day, I ask Richard, to this day, "Did you set me up?" And he's like, "Nah, I didn't set him." So whoever this guy is, I got a check for him waiting. That's a big fucking check. Because I signed him because of that energy.
Wow.
So when the deal came, they said they wanted to do solo records. I managed New Edition. So Bobby wanted a solo record. Ralph wanted a solo record. Johnny wanted a solo record. BB. I was like, all right, cool. The only one who's bigger than the group was truly Michael Jackson. But Michael Jackson really wasn't even bigger than the Jackson 5. So I was like, they could spin it as long as we have the first right. And it was about survival for me because the alcoholics were cool. We didn't go gold yet, but we were at 300,000. So we were making a name for ourselves. And I had the marketing company, the Stephen Rifkind company, which was the premier marketing company at that time. We were working everybody's record. I said, you know what? This is about survival. As long as we can match, we're good. And the rest is history.
Wow. So Alex, you are co-CEO of your own label right now, right? Chosen. What have
Wait,
you?
man, you went out. Say one more, please.
So you have your own label, Chosen Music. Is that right? Did I go out
Yes.
again? Okay. So I'm curious. Like, obviously, you've heard the stories a ton of times, just being in the presence of your dad. How much did you borrow from his experiences so that you didn't have to take any missteps in kind of where you are today? And how much of it has been kind of learning through the lumps in your, I know it hasn't been a ton of time. I think 2 or 3 years, right? That you've been in the seat that you're in.
This is the second year of our deal. The biggest thing I got from my dad, honestly, is just a move forward type of mindset. No matter what happens, just keep going, keep working hard. When I was in 6th grade on my AAU team, he told us, if you go 100%, I'll give you the world. And that kind of, that phrase kind of was my foundation because I played basketball first. Yeah. And that was my foundation for basketball. So once that basketball was over, that bled into now what I'm doing. So especially developing artists with 50,000 songs being released a day, you have to have that type of mindset because as soon as you put it out, it could pop off quick and it could die quick, or it could take a minute to build. So if you're not patient enough and willing to work hard through the triumphs and the speed bumps, like you just said, it's not going to work. So that's the biggest thing I've really taken from him, outside of obviously having the privilege of being in meetings with, superstars of each generation and just getting all types of game. But the game, in my opinion, doesn't really mean anything if you don't have the mindset to keep pushing when you're faced with an obstacle. So that's the biggest thing I've taken from him, if that answers your question.
More than you know.
Now, with you guys growing up with your dad, I mean, were you interested in what he was doing music wise? Did you have an understanding of like, hey, he's a major player and he's involved in all these different things, or was it you looking at him like, that's just dad and he's telling war stories?
RyRif, you want to answer this? You want me to go?
I can answer it. Well, I was kind of young when he was like still like really in this music thing heavy, like with SRC. I was probably like 7, 8, maybe even younger, and I wasn't even born when Loud was around. So like, I kind of just looked at him like as dad. I knew what he did, but I didn't realize how big he was and like how much of an impact he made. So I was like probably 15 or 16 when I did research on my own, and then like, so yeah, that's really it.
And how much? So when he gives you guys advice, how much do you really listen? Are you listening in terms of, yeah, we're gonna take this advice and put it to work, or is it kind of in one ear out the other? Because coming from different generations, we know like when our parents might tell us something that it's like, all right, whatever, we got to learn it the hard way on our own. I mean, how do you guys approach that?
I'll answer that one.
Yeah.
If you ask my dad, he'll say I don't take any of his advice. But to the contrary, I listen to everything he says because he sold 200 million records, which is crazy. So of course you have to listen to it. And then I think you got to just take it situation by situation as well. Every situation is different, and you kind of got to plug and play. So sometimes I'll take his advice. We'll plug it in. If it works, we'll keep going. If it doesn't, we re-strategize, or me and my dad will just go back and forth on the dialogue on strategy. So it's really just, it's a lot of just strategic talks. But no, I definitely listen to him. I would be an idiot if I didn't.
I don't know. We come up pretty idiotic, a lot of us. So I'm glad to hear that, because one thing is to listen and consider. The other thing is to do exactly what your father or your parents are telling you. Right? I think to some degree, you being able to ingest information and then pick your path from that information, that builds a lot of character, and it's probably something that I'm sure your dad probably encourages because his path was different from his dad and so on and so forth. But it's encouraging to hear that, because me as a father of 3, my eldest is 13. I find that her listening to me, I don't actively see it, right? So I feel like it is like the one in one ear out the other kind of situation. But then she'll do certain things. She plays ball too, so she'll do certain things, and then I'm like, yo, we went over that. Like I was pounding it in her head, like, yo, you got to do this, you got to stop doing that. And then after a while, it starts to kind of become her. Not everything, but certain things, that she feels are important. And I kind of throw it back to you, Steve, real fast. Like, how your son Alex just mentioned, like you may say that he doesn't listen to you. Do you find some similarity in what I'm saying to how your sons react to your advice?
And how I reacted to my dad's advice?
Right. Also, exactly. Well,
no. I mean, not necessarily Ryan, but Alex is more level-headed. Ryan is a lot like me. Alex is really level-headed, where he might listen, but he's still going to do what he wants to do. I didn't listen at all. The only time I listened, when I got offered the label, I said no, actually. I was happy with what I was doing. I was marketing a bunch of records. I had no pressure. I would leave I was living in LA. I'd leave the office at 3, go to the park, play ball from 4 to 5:30, go back, shower, come back to the office, do my reports, and do my to-do list for tomorrow. And I was, I was young. I was, my maybe 26, 27, making good 6 figures. And then when I was in New York for a wedding, and I was staying at Rich Isaacson's apartment, who was my childhood best friend, who eventually ended up being my partner on Loud, was a lawyer. And my dad, he goes, I need to see you. I'm like, oh, fuck, what did I do now? Right? I did that to myself. And I jumped on the train. I went to Long Island, and he explained to me what the asset business is, how it makes money while you're sleeping, and then you could eventually sell something, this, that, so on. And that really made sense to me. So I listened. I called the attorney. I said, all right, I'm ready to start this record company. Say, yeah, I'm ready to do this deal. And that was really the only time I ever really listened without us really having a fight or anything. But, I learned, when my dad started and when that Spring, it was a totally different animal than what Loud was and then what SRC was. And, you had to deal with the mob, you had to deal with it. There were so many things that you had to deal with my dad. And that's why I was so lenient with the artist, because I didn't want to have that reputation. Even though my dad had a great reputation, I'd be like, I never considered myself an A&R guy. I always considered myself a promotion guy, even to this day. You make what you want to make. My job is to promote it and market it and sell it and stream as many records as we possibly can. So that's why my relationship with the artist, and we never fought over money.
So
you bubbling.
So Ry, I want to jump to you for a second in your music career at this point. You play basketball, but you've kind of pivoted to music at this point. What got you in that direction?
Well, I had a group of friends at school that also rapped, and one time, at this time last year, they had a studio session, and we just all hopped on a song for fun, and it was my first time rapping actually. I'm like, maybe I should give this a shot when the season's over, and because of COVID, season ended kind of early, and my brother he was like, you should try it, and yeah, that's it. I'm still new. I started rapping only 6 months ago, so yeah, I'm just trying it out.
That's dope.
And do you shy away from? I mean, you don't shy away from it, but in terms of the family that you come from, and I guess the access to music and the access to the industry, have you had any kind of backlash with that from peers or anyone you're able to get on easy, as opposed to people saying how they struggle to get on? Have you had to deal with any of that?
Yeah, 2 weeks ago when we released the a little visualizer for Run It Up, some old dude, I don't even know where he came from. He was going at me in the comments. It was funny to me, but it was he was just mad that my dad put me on, and there's other kids who been rapping longer than me that might be better than me that didn't get a shot, and it was just I don't know, I didn't really care. I thought it was funny.
How do you feel about that, Steve?
I mean, at the end of the day, I'm going to tell you guys a story. I consulted with Phil Knight and Nike for a long time. Phil had somebody named Travis Knight. Travis wanted to be a rapper.
Really?
This is a true story. He hired Hank Shockley from Public Enemy to produce the album. Hank gets me with Phil Knight and a guy by the name of Howard Slusher, and they made a deal with MCA. And the only thing that Phil Knight said, he goes, I don't care if I sell a record or if I sell 10 million records. To me, I just want my son to get up to the plate and swing and take a chance. So that stuck with me for life, right? If they fail, all right, they fail. But you know what? You get up and you go on. I mean, so, with that guy that Ryan was talking about, it's in their DNA. So he's going to work. I mean, they're both athletes. I mean, at the end of the day, they locked themselves in the gym up until whatever, and then, Alex played college ball too. So it was that's a different type of fucking beast that they have to do, especially, was it preseason training, Alex, during the summer when you have to run. Yeah. So it's I'm not worried about their work ethic. That's in their DNA. Now, if they make he came to this. He came to us and said, he brought it to Alex and they brought it to me. And they said, listen to these 3 records. It blew my mind. I'm just not going to put him on Front Street because he's my son.
Yeah, right.
If I think he could, swing the bat and get on base, we're going to go for it. The way if they wanted to be a doctor or a construction worker or whatever the fuck they wanted to be. I'm going to support my kids. You know, and then we got my daughter who's running the whole social media stuff for all of us.
That's dope. So it's a true through and through family business that's popping off here.
Oh yeah.
I love it.
You know, but you know, and that's RyRif's twin, you know, so she's in school taking finals. Otherwise she would have been on with us right now. But she's in charge of all social media for all of us.
That's ill. So, you know, generationally, you hear, and RyRif, I'd love to kind of have this conversation with you, because the older folks, right? I consider myself an older guy. I'm 40 now. I know I don't look it, so don't get crazy. But the genre of hip hop today, I'm sure you hear this all the time, right? It's very different than the generation of hip hop that your father helped create, right? That's more like my speed of hip hop. Not that I dislike today's, but it's different, right? I gravitate toward that 90s era stuff. Your brand is more now. It's got a different sound, right? How do you feel about the old hip hop versus the style of hip hop that you're locked in on right now? And how much does that play into how you create?
I mean, I like the old hip hop. There was a point in time where I didn't like a lot of new artists, but it kind of grew on me, and now that's what I like. But I wouldn't say it really plays into like how I create music, because you know that's not the type of rapper I am. You know, I would like to try it one day, but as of right now, it doesn't really play into how I make music.
How much does Alex help steer your creative process, or does he kind of remove himself from it? Because I know, Alex, you manage Rye, correct? Yeah. So how do you guys collaborate? Because I have to imagine influences are shared, but like, how do you kind of separate the two? Because I'm sure you need your own space.
Right. You want to answer? Or you want me to? You go ahead.
Yeah, I can answer. Alex helps me a lot because like he's just, I don't know, like my dad said, Alex is he's level headed, so it's easy to talk to him about a lot of stuff, and you know he also knows the music business more than me, so he knows what he's talking about, so it's easy to listen to him.
Okay, fair.
So how do you guys separate, if you're all intertwined with business and its family? How do you guys, I guess, separate when you need to separate any kind of business from, like, if you guys are pissed off at each other on some family shit, how do you guys separate that from getting things done on the business side, if that even happens?
Oh, it happens.
Alex, you got this.
I have this, you said?
Yeah, you got it.
You know, like I said, I'll get mostly Ryan's face. Like boom, 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 boom. You know, and then Alex is the mediator. And then with me and Alex, it's like, you know, it's like, all right, what are we doing with Rye? Like, is he ready? Is he ready for like, even about this podcast, you know? And I'm like, you know what? We got to throw motherfuckers in the water to see if they can swim. I'm not going to let him. I'm not going to let him drown. I'm not going to let either one of them drown. But you know, that's really, you know, I'm not overthinking shit, and that's really, you know, what it is. And then Alex keeps on going to Rye. It's like, we're ready, right? You ready for this? You ready for this? You know, and Rye is saying, yeah. So, you know,
a manager's job.
I'm getting some water. I'll be right there.
Go ahead.
So a manager's job, right, is to protect the artist from the label trying to have him do shit that he may not want to do. So in this situation, my dad's the label and I'm the manager and RyRif is the artist. Right. So I'm team RyRif. I'm a fan of, even outside of music, I'm a fan of people doing something when they have love for it, like full love for it. Because I'm not going to go down this path, but like when you do something with love, the money will come tenfold because the energy surrounding the project has so much love and so much positive energy that gets dispersed into the universe, right? So anything that we're going to do regarding RyRif, I want to make sure he's 100% bought in. My dad likes to move quick all day, every day. I don't like to do that. I like to move quick, but but I like to make sure we're all invested with the energy. So that's my role. So sometimes my dad will want to do stuff. So I guess to answer the question about family and business, when does it separate? It separates when it has anything to do with RyRif doing something I don't know if he's 100% ready to do. So I'll always have his back on that.
Damn, it's dope. It's dope to have like a mediator in the mix, right? Because it's very clear just the way you even move in this screen. Like we're not in the same room. I can't feel your energy, physically, but like you are kind of that equilibrium for the dynamic. So that's really interesting. Steve,
but Manny,
Yeah.
wait a sec. But let me just finish what I. He has his twin sister who is extremely protective over him. That and his mom, who I'm petrified of both. So it's like, so it was like their birthday the other night. Like we didn't even talk business really. Me and the mom spoke business for a second, just to figure out. He needs. I told him he needs to find an attorney, and I gave 3 or 4 attorneys that she should speak to with Alex, and that was the only business we really discussed.
And then
otherwise it was just
family.
Otherwise
time.
it was just chill.
Right.
Yeah.
So on the topic of legacies, right? We've been exploring music and kind of talking about the legacy of music here. There's also kind of a legacy in basketball because you mentioned, Steve, you used to hoop at some point, right? You never, I guess, reached where you were expecting to, but your kids have got. I mean, you playing at Sierra with the likes of cats that you were playing with. You got buddies of yours that are pro right now. And then Alex, you were playing at Long Beach collegiately, which is no walk in the park, right? Like, how do you feel, Steve, like with where they've been able to go? And RyRif, by no means am I saying you're done. I think there's probably still a lot for you to do basketball-wise if you chose to. How do you look at it, Steve? Because I'm kind of in your shoes a little bit where it's like I want my kids to pursue basketball because that was my love, but I never went anywhere with it. Like, high school, coming out of the Bronx, I wasn't making no high school team. So, your kids have reached certain heights already. How do you look at that, and what kind of pride do you feel?
The pride is that they surpassed me. As a dad, you want them to surpass you in all aspects of life.
Mm-hmm.
In business, personal, so from a sports perspective, they both surpassed me. I never won a state championship. Ryan won states last year. I never averaged 20 points in high school. I think Alex did, or close to it. And that's, so from that level, you want them to succeed and you want them to surpass you.
Dope.
That makes sense.
Even on a business aspect, it's like there was my grandfather, then there was my dad and uncle, and then there were my cousins who were a little bit older than me, and then there was me. Now there's Alex, and then there's my cousin's kids, and it's like, so it's going to keep on, they were lawyers and extremely good lawyers, so it's like, we have all bases covered, but if you're younger than me, I want you to surpass me and not make the mistakes that I made.
So can we
you
talk
ever?
Yeah, go ahead. Okay.
No, I was just gonna ask, Steve, were you ever dubious at all when Rye came to you and Alex came to you that he wanted to be not wanted to be an artist, but was doing music? I mean, knowing what you know from studio sessions and just being in the world of music and the kind of shit that artists get into sometimes, ever nervous about that when they said, all right, we want to be in the music game here?
No. I mean, you talking about with violence and shit like that?
Just drugs, violence, anything that can potentially come along with it sometimes.
You got to raise your, not from a music, but just, from a father, son, or a mother, and a mother, father raising their kids. I think they know, not right from wrong, but, when to walk away from something if something doesn't smell right or not kosher, and that's something that, we explain all the time. And then, whatever goes on in the studio, they, I just hope that they're going to be aware the way I was aware. It's like Alex is 25 years old. He's going to make his own fucking decisions. What he's going to do. Ryan's 20. He's going to make his own decisions too. I could only lead them so far, and I can't be with them 24 hours a day, and they're not with each other 24 hours a day. So it's like, they just got to know when to walk, and just, and knowing that I'm going to be there, God forbid if something does happen.
Did you ever censor the music at all when they were growing up? Were you guys protective of what they listened to or anything like that?
No, I mean their mom. Me and their mom split when they were a little bit younger, and she's my best friend now. But I didn't censor anything. I don't know if Mom censored anything for you guys when you would be in the car with her.
I feel like Alex has a story he wants to share because that grin was heavy.
I do. Remember Like a Pimp?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, David Banner.
Yeah.
Yeah, Flip. So one summer, we rented a house. My dad rented a house in Malibu, and I thought I was home alone. So I'm watching like MTV, the music videos. So it was MTV or 106 & Park. It was one of them. And Like a Pimp came on, and I was a real quiet kid, but so I would never sing the songs, but I knew every word because I was shy. And Like a Pimp was my favorite song. Then that's the first time I'm like 6 or 7. First time I ever seen a girl twerk. Like I'm just totally So I was just totally infatuated with the video, but I also love the song. It was my favorite song, and I'm rapping. It comes on like BET 106 & Park or something. And I'm thinking I'm home alone, and I'm rapping it word for word. Like they're bleeping it on TV. I'm screaming the curse words, like going crazy. And I turn around, and my dad is watching me the whole time. And I was just so embarrassed, and I just walked out. But to answer, just to say, like, there is no censorship at any point when I ever listen to music. I would hate hearing clean versions at like 7.
I don't remember that, but I mean, I didn't say anything, did I?
No, you was laughing. You never been so happy, but like I was embarrassed because I don't like to show my
your emotion.
I didn't like to show my just my personality. I was just so shy. So just a quick
That's funny.
Explicit story.
Oh, so let's talk a little bit about the relaunch of Loud as a Loud music group. What prompted you to make that happen? Was it RyRif?
RyRif was a big part of it.
Okay.
As Ry came with the records, this guy by the name of City Outwater came to me, who knows how to find these amazing records on TikTok, and just like came to me and he says, I want to start this distribution thing, this, that, or whatever, and then I really want to learn from you. So I really liked him. And then, I was managing the Suicide Boys with Dana Bionde. I said, and they already knew each other. So I put them two together, let them run it. And that's how the Loud music group really came. I can't do, what, it's like what I told them yesterday. I go, is today's business about a song or is it about an artist? So, I'm still about the artist. So we're going to have a little of everything. I'm going to find my artist. He's going to figure out what the next record on TikTok is. And we're going to keep it from there.
Is Chosen involved in Loud at all, or is two separate things?
They're separate things.
Okay.
And Ry is signed to both, through both, or
no? He's signed to Loud.
Okay, got it. I see you smiling there, Alex. Is that?
Yeah, it was one time I was like, "Yo, like, can we?" The moment I even went, like the first 3 words of going in that direction, he was like, "Shut the fuck up, I'm signing." I'm like, "All right, you got it." So he made it clear from the jump, so that's why I'm laughing.
Ry, I know you've been a little quiet over here, but I have a question for you, my brother. What do you think? And you're still a baby in the grand scheme of things. 20, well, both of you are, but like 20 is like you just getting started in life. What have you learned that you can safely say has made a difference for you so far from your father?
Like in terms of music?
in general? Just like music can be involved in this, but I mean, just as your dad, like, what's been like a sound piece of advice that you know right now has made a difference in your life?
I mean, just basically just to work hard. Like Alex said earlier, he sold a lot of records and he made a lot of money. So, and he worked and he got that by working hard. So that's just basically it. Just work hard at anything you do. Doesn't matter if you're a constructor or work at like a gas station or something, or if you're a rapper or a basketball player, you just got to work.
How about you, Alex?
Can you say the question again? My answer probably will still be the same as Ryan. So can you just ask the question again, please?
Yeah. Just like, what's the biggest piece of advice you've taken away from your dad thus far?
Definitely work ethic, but also kind of how to sell something as well. How to frame it and how to articulate what you're bringing to the table.
Dope. How about you, Steve?
Because the advice to me would be a little different than Ryan, because I'm not an artist.
Right.
So he's gonna give me advice from an executive mindset. You know what I'm saying? With the artistry, it's the same, but it's a little different just because it's a different lane of the business.
And Steve, how about you? What have you learned from your kids that has actually impacted you? Because just because you're the elder statesman don't mean you can't learn stuff from them.
Oh, no question. It's listening. You know, that, it's, as you can see between the three of us, Alex is the spiritual one and just, knows how to really communicate and, and say what he's feeling. I go everything on a different type of energy, and this is Ryan right here, just, cool back, laid back. So it's about listening. I don't understand. Like, we just got, the record came out on Thursday and the Shazam numbers are really, really strong. I had no idea what the fuck Shazam was. Right. So it was like, so Alex was explaining it to me. So when we got, then it's funny because, Flex is playing the shit out of the record.
Yes, he was. I was hearing him.
Yeah. No, he still is.
Well, I mean, like around the drop date, like the 18th, he was like, I counted like 4 or 5 different times back to back to back. How Flex does.
Yeah. No. Yeah. But the Shazam numbers in Atlanta, I mean, that's our number one city. So I don't know if it's because of how it sounded or if somebody else started playing it in Atlanta. So, this is what, I'm learning it. And Alex, I listened and he explained to me, really how it works.
That's dope.
Yeah. So
to kind of close out, Steve, I just want to find out, kind of going back to your dad for a second. When you started having kids and knowing that your dad was kind of 24/7 on the music side, were there specific things that you thought to yourself, like, this is what I'm going to do when I raise kids?
That's a great question. Can I tell you a funny story?
You can tell us 2 if you want.
Me and my wife. All right. Me and my wife were on a honeymoon. We're in the south of France. And Alex was already born. Alex was 2 years old. So we had my parents take care of Alex. So my parents said, my parents lived in Long Island. They had a great house. They lived on the water, a pool, everything like that. And they said, is it cool if we bring him to Long Island? I never told their mom. So we're in the south on our honeymoon. Yep. We're in the south of France, and it just slips that my parents picked up Alex and he took it, to Long Island, and she's like, "You're gonna let your father drive, who's on the phone 24 hours a day in one hand and a blunt in the other hand in the car, drive." And she's from Trinidad, so the angrier she gets, I don't understand the word. So, but what happened was, and I was like, you're right. And I was like, I called them up. I'm like, how'd you get to Long Island? They said we sent the car. So like he didn't drive, but he still probably had the phone in one ear the blunt, in the other hand, and then my mom was probably just, doing whatever they do, But that was, yeah. So, I mean, just what I learned from my father, that family is everything, right? So when Ryan's record was first on last week on Flex, I have the Hot 97 link. I send it to everybody, and I lose my mind that nobody's listening to it. Besides the three of us.
Right.
Nicole was at, she was Christmas shopping with us. She's in the process of moving, and my daughter was studying or something. And I'm like, I got crazy. But, and I tried to explain to Alex, this is about family and just everything support. Yeah. So.
Right. I got a question for you, man. So Run It Up is out. You getting bombs dropped by Funkmaster Flex. I don't even know if you understand what that means. I mean, your father's probably explained that to you, but I don't have a real good grasp of how large Flex is today for your generation of cats. What did you feel anything when you started to hear the news and started to understand the magnitude of what was happening?
Yeah, it was just weird, hearing myself on a radio station. I didn't really know how big of a deal the bombs were, but when he kept on replaying it, I definitely knew it meant something that he was kept on replaying it. So it was definitely a cool feeling, and I had all my friends listening too, and they were hyping me up. So it was cool.
You were probably like, "Yo, what the fuck? Can you stop with these fucking bombs?"
Right.
I was just confused. I was like, why I keep on hearing bomb noises? What is this? I was confused.
Dope. So do you feel like you got the bug? Like this is something you see yourself doing, longer than right now?
Yeah, but I still feel like I still need to work more and get better. I'm still not all the way confident with some of the other stuff I got, so I just want to keep working at it before I really release any more stuff.
Dope.
Nice.
And any parting shots before we go, Steve? Anything we didn't talk about?
Any gems for us, Steve?
Basketball season starts in an hour.
In an hour.
No, actually, the Nets Golden State game is on at 4:00, 7:00 your time.
Yes.
No, but I got this Thursday will be 7 years since I had this crazy heart attack. Right. Yeah. I got 5 more years, and then they're gonna have to visit me on an island and drop a bag off every once a month. So they know what they got to do for the next 5 years.
Y'all better get your grind on. That's a big ass bag you got to drop off. Y'all ready for all that?
Yeah.
Nice.
All right. Yo, guys, man, thank you so much for joining us. This was fun.
Appreciate it. Wait, RyRif, what's your IG? Where can we listen to the music?
Yes, please.
Management.
Yeah, listen to my. You can listen to Run It Up on all streaming platforms, Spotify, music. Just type in RyRif, Run It Up, and you should be able to find it. And my Instagram is just RyRif, RyRif.
RyRif. Y'all hear that?
Yeah.
Perfect. All right, brother. Well,
all right, guys.
We'll be listening for more bombs, my G. You keep running it up. All right.
All right. Have a great holiday.
You too.
All
Take
right,
care.
Happy holidays, everyone.
Appreciate y'all.
Later. Appreciate it.